This is 35mm film, and this is Instagram. So how do you get this onto this? And why would you want to? What's going on, Ramblers? This is Glenn, Blue Rambler Photography. Today we're talking about film scanning, trying to get your 35mm negatives digitized so you can put them on Instagram or Flickr or share them on Facebook, whatever you want to do. Now let me say this at the outset. I think film photography is best when it's printed out on paper and put up and viewed in the real world. This isn't to circumvent any of that, but a good majority of what we do as film photographers is shared in the digital space. So how do we get there? How do we put this into ones and zeros so it can be shared electronically? This is a long road that you can go down to. This is a deep rabbit hole, okay? I myself, I've been shooting film since the Reagan administration. I've only started really looking into digitizing my photos since about 2018. So about 8 years, I've been experimenting, trying to work it out. What this video is not about the best way to do it. I haven't found a secret magic sauce that everybody should know about. This is essentially where I've landed after 8 years of going down this rabbit hole, trying lots and lots and lots of different things, different methods, different cameras, different lenses. This here, what I'm going to show you today, is where I ended up and what's been working for me for a pretty long time now. Before we start on where I am, let's look at where I started. This is the first scanner that I ever bought. Some people start with a flatbed scanner, which is fine. I never did. I could afford either a flatbed scanner or this, and I chose this because this was a dedicated 35mm scanner. It seemed like the right tool for the job, and indeed it was. I used this thing for years. This was my first intro into scanning negatives, 35mm negatives, and it worked great. Wasn't perfect. There was still a lot to be desired, but it was a great start. And for the photography that I was doing at the time, it worked great. Worked a treat. Plus Tech, very good. Highly recommended for people who are just starting out. But then you got to move on to something a little bit better, which is this. This. So what are our options if you want to put your 35mm negatives onto the interwebs or just share them digitally? You can do the flatbed scanner, you can do a dedicated 35mm scanner, or you can do this. What you do is you get your negatives and you take pictures of them. It's a little bit more complicated than that. We're going to go into it, but that's the gist of it. So instead of scanning, you're taking photos. Photos of your photos. It's like photoception. I have went through a lot of iterations of digital single lens reflex cameras, like a lot. This is my latest and best digital camera that I own. My Nikon Z6ii mirrorless. I went mirrorless. It's a whole nother video about why that happened. Do I just hold up the photo and take a photo of it? No. Let me show you my setup. Looks like this. This is my setup. It doesn't look like much. You know why? Because it's not much. Let's take a closer look, shall we? Okay, let's start with the copy stand. A lot of people spend a lot of money on copy stands. And you can too, if that's what you want. What I needed was something to really hold my DSLR. So I got a plank of wood and some pipe from Home Depot. Honestly, that's all this is. Plank of wood and some pipe. I think the details of the pipe are there. For all plumbers out there, that's the details of the pipe. And then I got a little bracket to attach it to the wood. And then I got, I think from Amazon or something, this really nice attachment that lets me attach the camera to the pipe. And that is it. That is my copy stand. Can you spend $200 on a copy stand? Absolutely. Should you? I don't think so. But anyway, this is my camera, Nikon DSLR, Nikon Z6ii or Nikon Z2. This is the lens that I'm using. Let me see if we can get in there. And this is the lens that I'm using. Nikkor 105mm 2.8 G, the micro lens. It's a macro lens, but it's actually a micro lens. It's weird. Anyway, fantastic, fantastic lens. And so this is how you do it, right? You've got your camera, you mount it on your Home Depot camera stand, and then you just point and shoot, right? Wrong. If I was to shoot that, what am I gonna get? Nothing, because it's dark. The camera can't see anything. It needs some light. So let there be light. This is light. This is a really, really inexpensive LED light that I got off of Amazon. There's the details if you want. Basically, turn it on, let there be light. Now, the camera can see the film, but it's more complicated than that. First of all, I want this to lay flat, and it doesn't lay flat. However, I know a guy, and I want to be forever, ever grateful for the guy who did a 3D print of a stand. Now my light lays flat. Look at that. Fantastic. The light lays flat. So now, we just do that, right? Now we could, but what would be better is to really isolate the individual frames. And that comes with this. This is a holder for 35mm film that's used for a dedicated scanner. I didn't buy the scanner, but I bought the holder because the holder rocks. It's very, very good. And then I just threw some tape on some poster board and made a film holder. Now, why? Because I want to be able to isolate the light. With all that light is going to bounce around, and it's going to not be good for scanning. Basically, you want to isolate the light. So this is how I've solved that problem. I bought a dedicated 35mm film holder for a scanner. I didn't buy the scanner, I bought the film holder. And now, let me see if I can get some film. Before we put the film into the holder, there's two things we need to do. First, we need to blow off any dust. This is a rocket blower. This is a rocket blower, and what you do is you blow to try to get all the dust off. If there's any dust or hair or anything, Also, I probably should be wearing gloves. Most people usually wear gloves when handling their negatives. I don't because I'm old school, but I really probably should. It's a bad habit. If you're handling negatives a lot, use gloves. But anyway, rocket blower. Get all the dust off, all the hair, and it's really good to do it now. You want to do as little as possible in post. So one of the things you're going to do if you're doing processing this in Lightroom or Photoshop, you're probably going to want to get rid of those little dust particles, just like you would on a print. I have no problem with doing that electronically. You would get rid of little dust particles most of the time on a print anyway. So making sure we get rid of all of them. Now, the other thing is, film, I don't know how well you can see it, film has a shiny side and it has a dull side, the emulsion side. The dull, matte side is the emulsion side. This is the film base, this is the glossy side. You want to make sure that your emulsion side, you want to make sure the matte, dull side is up. Why? Because it's going to have less light reflected on it. You actually want to do this in a really, really small, in a really, really dark room. In fact, the only light you really want to have is this light right here. We're almost all set. I got the film dusted. I got the emulsion side up. We're almost sorted. Now, here's a little trick that I learned. Now, I've got a lot of movement here. I can go up, down, around, around. We want to be as level as possible with the base because everything is 90 degrees. So we want to be as level as possible. How do we do that? I got a little level. See that? Okay, it's not so level. So we're going to come back. There we go. Okay. Now we're essentially level. It's not perfect. And we're going to do this. Okay. See that? I don't know if you saw that or not. Okay. So we're level here. And we're level here. So that means the camera is going, that means the camera is going to be level with my base. Now there's other ways to do it. There's a way with a mirror that you can do this that a lot of people do. I've never really understood how that works. Mirrors, how do they work? I don't know. I like this method. The other reason that I like this method is because I can adjust while not moving my base. Okay, I can make sure that after doing a couple of things, if I bump the camera or something, I don't have to remove this, put a camera underneath here, to put a mirror underneath there and do more checking. I can just check like that. We're level, we're good to go. The other thing you might notice is I've got a remote control. So we're going to talk about camera settings in a second, but this is to prevent camera shake. I don't want the camera shaking, because if I start pushing buttons, camera's going to shake. So I want to be able to look at this remotely. Okay, so let's take a look. I got my camera all sorted. We're level. We're level, or level-ish, good enough. Okay, so I want to make sure that my picture is within the frame. There we go. I'm really looking for those red, you see those red frame markers? Really kind of trying to align with those. Now my settings. I usually am at 1 1/25 of a second. My shutter speed is never lower than 1/125. 1/25 of a second. It's never lower than that. Otherwise, I think you get, it's really possible to get camera shake. So I am on what is called shutter priority. So I set that. I set my ISO for the lowest possible setting, which is 100. I'm on auto ISO right now. So that means that the camera decides for this exposure what is best aperture. So it's at f5.6, which is pretty good. I really would rather have it be up to like f7.1 or f8, but we're gonna stick with this, and then we're gonna, the other thing I needed to do, we go to info. See, this is why I don't want to touch the camera. I'm going to go to shutter. We're going to go to 5 seconds. So that means that when I click the shutter, it's going to be a 5-second response, which means my hitting the shutter is not going to affect the camera shake at all. And I think what I did was I bumped, get out of there. I bumped the camera, so I'm going to go back, do this. Okay, so 1/125 of a second, f5.6, 100 ISO, we're in focus, and here we go. Perfect. Now, again, normally I would do this in a completely dark room. I would do this in a completely dark room with the only light being the light that's coming out here. So we've done one. We're going to move it over. I'm going to get another. There we go. Make sure that's within again, we're going to make sure that's within the red lines. We look good. We're going to get focused. Whoops. Yep. Green says focus. We're going to click. One more time. Next frame. Here we go. I think that's a kind of a throwaway shot, but we're going to take it, we're going to shoot it anyway. And on and on and on. That's how this works. And that's it. I shoot RAW, R-A-W, RAW. That's my file format, which I'm shooting. I don't shoot JPEG. I shoot in RAW. I upload to Lightroom. I have a program called Negative Lab Pro, which a lot of film users use. It's a fantastic, fantastic program. I highly recommend you buy it. Well worth the money. I do whatever little tweaks, and then I go to Photoshop. I do some more tweaks. I try to do as little as possible in post-production. I usually just bump up the contrast. That's a big thing. Try to dial in my lights and my darks. Dodging and burning, stuff that I would normally do in a darkroom. I have no qualms with using a program like Lightroom or Photoshop to do that kind of stuff that I would normally do anyway. Photographers have manipulated the negative since the beginning of photography. Okay, this whole idea that you got to have some kind of purity, these purity rules or laws for post-production, it just doesn't make any sense. Okay, Ansel Adams would be all over Photoshop and Lightroom. I know he would. Most of everybody else, because these things, dodging, burning, cropping, bumping up contrast, that's been around since the invention of the darkroom. So I have no problem doing it digitally. So again, upload to Lightroom, Negative Lab Pro, do some tweaks, convert to Photoshop, do some more tweaks. Maybe I'll do a video about what kind of tweaks that I use, but again, try to do as little as possible. And that's it. Photos are ready to share on Instagram or Flickr or whatever format you want to share it with. Again, this is for people who don't have a darkroom. Photos look best, film photos look best when they're printed out on paper and shown in the real world. No argument about that. The ability to digitalize your film is an important step in your journey as a film photographer. And again, is this the perfect solution? No. Is it the solution that I've landed on? Yes. Has it worked for me for a very long time? Yes. Is it cheap? 100%. That said, obviously the Nikon Z6 is the big investment, and the lens is a big investment. But they're frankly things that I already had. They're tools that I already had in my toolbox. Anyway, I hope I gave you some tips and tricks that will help you on your own journey to digitizing your film, to getting your film out there into the digital world. If you have any suggestions for me, leave it in the comments. Otherwise, this is Glenn, Blue Rambler Photography. Take care, be well, and shoot film.